Good morning. Welcome to another edition of The Last Vampire, Phantom. And here we go. Let's leave that for a moment. Let's talk about Kalika. How can she be a vampire and not be sensitive to the sun? I wasn't that sensitive, I say, because you'd been a vampire for over 5,000 years. And still the sun did bother you. It sapped your strength. You say it doesn't affect her at all. Not as far as I can tell. She plays out in it. Does she make an effort to move into the shade? No. She likes the sun as much as the moon. Yet she wants human blood. Seymour muttered, thinking aloud. Is she exceptionally strong? Yes, pretty strong. She must be a vampire. Seymour considers. What does she look like? A lot like me, except her features are darker. You mean she has brown hair, brown eyes? Her hair is brown, but her eyes are dark blue. I add painfully, she's very pretty. You'd like her. Not if she wants to drink my blood, Sita. Let's be frank with each other. You are not superhuman anymore. You're not going to be able to go around abducting people without getting caught. As far as I can tell, you were lucky with this Eric guy. And how are you going to let him go when you're through with him? He'll go straight to the police. I bite my lower lip and taste the blood. The flavor gives me no strength. I know, I say. If you know, then you've got to stop now. There are tears pulled in my eyes, but I won't shed them. Not tonight. I can't. Seymour, Ray's right about one thing. I can't let her die. Seymour speaks gently. You know what I'm going to ask next. I nod weakly. Yes. Does the world need a monster like her? All I can say is I'm hoping she turns out all right. For God's sakes, she was just born. She hasn't had a chance to show what she's like. But by the time she does, it might be too late. You might not be able to stop her. He adds carefully, but you can stop her now. I'm aghast. I can't murder my own daughter. You can stop feeding her. Think what those feedings will cost you and your victims. You'll need a dozen Erics to keep her satisfied if she's growing at the rate you say. In fact, she'll be getting her own Eric soon enough. I know this is painful for you to face, but you should probably end it now. I shake my head vigorously. I can't do that. Seymour is sympathetic, but then I can't help you. He adds, unless you tell me where you are. It won't help for you to see her. You'll just fall in love with her. When she's not angry, she's really very lovely. I was thinking I'd like to speak to this new, improved Ray. I don't think that's a good idea, not now. Seymour speaks with feeling. You've trusted me in the past, Sita. Trust me now. You're too close to this. You can't see what's real. You need me. It's too dangerous. Seymour, if something happened to you, I'd never forgive myself. Stay where you are. I'll call you again, and I'll think about what you've said. Noticed in these books, Sita is very emotional, and she protects those she loves. Thinking won't stop her from growing into what she really is. I suppose we'll see what that is soon enough. We exchange goodbyes. As I leave the house, I think of Eddie Fender's blood circulating in my lover's body, and I wonder what blood pumps through Kalika's veins. what it is capable of doing. Okay, now we're ready for Chapter 9. At home, Eric has regained consciousness. His feet and hands are firmly bound, and there is duct tape over his mouth. But he has somehow managed to squirm his way to what he is sitting upright in the far corner of the spare bedroom. His eyes are wide with fear as I approach him with a syringe. It is hard to blame him. As I kneel by his side, I start to stroke his head, but he trembles under my fingers, so I stop. I'm sorry, I say. This isn't easy for me either. I wish I could explain the whole situation to you, but I can't. But I can promise you that you're not going to die. I swear this to you, Eric, and I keep my word. At the same time, I'm going to have to keep you here for a few days. I'm not exactly sure how long. And while you're here, please don't freak out over this. I'm going to have to occasionally take some of your blood. The last sentence does not go over well. Eric's eyes get so round I'm afraid they're going to burst from his skull. He shakes his head violently from side to side and tries to wiggle away, but I pull him back. Shh, I say. It's not going to be as bad as it sounds. I have clean needles and am better trained than most doctors. You can lose a little blood and it won't damage you in the slightest. He works his mouth vigorously. His meaning is clear. If I remove your gag, I say, will you promise not to scream? If you do scream, I'll have to shut you up quickly. And I don't want to have to hurt you any more than I have to. Eric nods rapidly. Okay. But you mustn't raise your voice. I tear off the tape. Ouch! Eric gasps for air. Who are you? He moans pitifully. Well, that's an interesting question. I am not Cynthia Rhodes, if that's what you're asking. But I suppose you know that already. I pause. I'm just a stranger in the park. What do you want with me? I told you, your blood. A little of your blood. But what do you want my blood for? He cries. That's a long story. I pat him on the shoulder. Trust me that I really need it, and that in the end, you're going to be okay. He is breathing heavily. He stares down at his leg and looks so pitiful it breaks my heart. You broke my knee. It hurts. I need a doctor. I'm sorry. You can see a doctor later in a few days, but until then you'll have to stay here. You'll have to eat here and sleep here and go to the bathroom here. Now, you see that bathroom over there? I will let you use it from time to time if you just cooperate with me. In fact, if you're real good, I won't have to keep you tied up at all. You'll be able to walk around this room, even read and listen to music. But I warn you, I'm going to board up all the windows as soon as I take care of other business. And if you try to escape, well, let's just say let's just say that wouldn't be a good idea. He's a little slow. Would you kill me? I nod gravely. I would kill you slowly, Eric, by draining away all your blood. It's not a pleasant way to die, so don't mess with me. I fluff up his hair. Now stick out your arm and don't move. He tries to back up. No, don't raise your voice. No. I ram the heel of my palm into his nose, which stuns him. While he tries to refocus his eyes, I replace the duct tape and grab his arm. I have the tourniquet on in seconds. His veins are big and bulging. Before he can pull away, I have a needle in his vein, and blood is flowing into the sterile tube. I lean over and whisper in his ear. Don't fight me, I say. If you force me to hit you again, it won't be in the face, but in the stomach, more sensitive spot. I tug on his earlobe. Understand? He stares at the tube. As his blood drips into it, he nods. Good boy. I kiss his cheek. Just think of all this as a nightmare that will soon be over. Kalika is waiting in the living room with Ray when I bring the blood in a flask. She has a book on her lap. I assume it is one of the picture books that I have recently bought for her, but I am mistaken. Sitting behind her on the floor, I see she has been paging through an anatomy textbook that was in the house when we rented it. I don't ask if she knows what it is. I'm afraid that she might. Her dark blue eyes brighten when she sees the blood. Her little hands shoot out. Hungry, she says. Is that all you took? Ray asks. She's been waiting all day. The less I take, the more often I can take it, I say, handing Kalika the flask. I'm curious if she will notice the difference between my blood and Eric's. Actually, I wonder if she will drink it at all. But that doubt is soon dispelled. She wolfs it down in a few gulps. The flask is thrust back in my hands. Hungry, Kalika says. I told you, Ray says. You have to give her at least a pint. I stare at Kalika, who stares back at me, and this curious sensation sweeps over me. There is coldness in my daughter's eyes, but also a great, expansive feeling. Few people in the West who know anything of Vedic deities understand the meaning of Kali or Kalika. To most, she's simply a dark, bloodthirsty goddess. Yet that meaning is superficial, and I certainly would not have named my daughter after a monster with no redeeming virtues. Actually, Kali is black, but this is because she represents space, the abyss, that which is before the creation, and that which all exists before. Her necklace of skulls symbolizes how she cares for souls after life, not just through one incarnation. Even the funeral pyre she sits on is representative of the many sins she burns to ash. When she is pleased, Kali is a destroyer, true, but she also destroys evil. Many of India's greatest saints worshipped her as the supreme being, and they say she is easy to please, if one is careful. Staring at my daughter, I'm reminded of Krishna, yet Krishna had love as well as infinity. Kalika has never been an affectionate child. That is a blood stain on her right cheek. Hungry, Mommy, she says softly. Sighing, I take the flask and trudge back into the spare bedroom. Eric is upset to see me again so soon. Now this won't hurt a bit. I have to hit him again to get him to sit still, and I hate myself for the cruelty. I hate Krishna as well for forcing me into this situation, but I know it is useless to hate God. It is like screaming at the night sky. The stars have no ears, and besides, they are too far away to hear. They just keep on shining. I must keep on living until death reaches my front door, or my daughter comes for my blood in the dead of night. I have no doubt that in a few days she will be capable of killing me. Now we are in chapter 10. After boarding up Eric's room and ditching his car a safe distance away, I go for another drive, this one entirely aimless. It is dark now, and the time of day suits my mood. Kalika thrusts back her second empty 8-ounce glass of blood with the same numbing words, Hungry, Mommy. I shudder to think what her appetite will demand tomorrow. We'll have to collect a whole team of basketball players. Maybe I should drive down to the Forum and wait for the Lakers to start practice. They have some big boys who know how to shoot a ball. But should they bleed for my daughter? Should Eric? Seymour has scored with many of his points, as always. Midnight finds me at the beach where I buried Yaksha's body, or rather where I sunk it. There was little of Yaksha left when I sent him into a watery grave with his full blessings. Eddie Fender had done his usual number on my creator, stabbed him, torn him, dissected him, drained him. Good old Eddie, never one to take a joke well, but Yaksha hadn't minded the horrific treatment. Indeed, in the end, the most feared of all earth ancient demons had found peace of mind through faith in Krishna. Staring at the dark waves, I think of how the passage of the many years does not necessarily bring devotion, how my own suffering has more often than not brought cynicism. I have to wonder if that is why I keep suffering. What am I missing? I ask the ocean. Why do I have to go on like this? Yet now it is more important than ever that I continue. I am a mother. I have a responsibility to feed my daughter, but it is very possible my daughter is capable of destroying all mankind. No one knows except perhaps Krishna what a weird alchemy of blood she possesses. Bowing my head in the direction of Yaksha's grave, I turn and leave the beach. Another hour finds me at Paula's school inside St. Andrew's Church. It's a peculiar how many churches don't have posted hours, how their doors are always open. The light of the candles as I step inside fill me with warm feelings. Despite my obsession with Krishna, my respect for Jesus has never faded, even during the Middle Ages when the Catholic Church tried to burn me at the stake for witchcraft. Me, a witch? I'm a goddamn vampire. I almost told them that, but then the church was never one to enjoy a joke. St. Andrew's is comfortably stuffy. The smoke from the candles and the incense fills my nostrils as I take a seat in the third pew and stare at the stained glass windows, dark and sinister without the sun to give them color. A statue of Mother Mary to stand nearby, dozens of glowing red dishes flickering at her feet. I have never lit a candle for the Madonna in the last 2,000 years, but I have a strong urge to do so now. But I won't pray to her. I won't ask for her help. Her own son was crucified, so I don't think she is the best person to run to with my problems. Yet I feel close to her, and that is the reason enough to show her respect. Plus, I like candles. I like fire of all kinds. I have just lit my candles when I hear steps off to my right. Alyssa? I smile as I turn. Paula, what are you doing here at this hour? Praying? She is happy to see me. At best, she can with her swollen belly. She gives me a hug. No, I was working on the school books. I couldn't sleep tonight. I only stopped in here because I saw a car parked out front. I thought it might be yours. Why are you here? I gesture to Mother Mary. I'm making my confession. You need a priest for that. I shake my head. I don't think there's a priest anywhere who would be able to sit through a list of my sins. Nonsense. They hear all kinds of stuff. None of us is that unique. I think it all sounds the same to them after a while. For once I have to disagree with you. My confession would set a record for the most difficult penance assigned. I pause as a wave of nostalgia sweeps over me. Actually, I knew a Catholic priest once. He used to listen to my confessions. I think that's what drove him mad. Paula wonders if I am kidding. What was his name? Arturo. He was Italian. I met him in Florence a long time ago, but that is another story. I'm happy to see. How are you feeling? Paula beams. Wonderful. If I didn't have such trouble sleeping, I wouldn't even know I was pregnant. Not to mention the basketball in your belly. Well, that's great. I'm happy for you. I glance at the main crucifix and lower my voice. Very happy. Paula touches my arm. Something's the matter. I nod grimly, still staring at Jesus, wondering how it felt to hang on the cross with so much power available to him, but unable to show it. In that instant, I feel a great kinship with Jesus. Seldom in 5,000 years was I allowed to demonstrate my full power, and then when I did, people died. Also, I think of how Krishna was killed, cut down in the forest by a hunter's arrow, mistaken for a beast and shot in the heel, the only portion of his divine body that was vulnerable to physical attack. So the legend of Achilles was born, not in Greece, but in the deep forests of central India. It is impossible for me to look at Jesus and not think of Krishna. Honestly, all the religious dogma aside, I believe they were one and the same, so universal that they were everybody and nobody at the same time, like Kali, Mother Kalika, who is my daughter. What is she? Something is the matter, I say to Paula. What is it? Maybe I can help. No thanks, but no. No one can help me. I gesture to the empty pews. Could I remain here a while? I have to think, to meditate. I think that will clear my mind, and then I will know what to do. Paula kisses me on the cheek. Stay as long as you want. I will lock the doors as I leave, but they will still open from the inside. You'll be safe in here. I smile feebly. Thank you. You are a true friend. Sometimes when things are hectic, we must talk. Less hectic, Paula stares into my eyes. I look forward to that talk. When she is gone, I curl up in one of the pews and close my eyes. I meditate. When I am unconscious, when I allow God to do most of the talking, even though I am in a Catholic church, I pray Krishna will visit me in my dreams. So now we are on chapter 11. This is usually a sign that he's going to be visited by Krishna. The scene is the same as it always has been. It can be no other way, for it is constructed in eternity. It is only here that dialogue with the Almighty can take place. I stand on a vast grassy plain with many gently sloping hills surrounding me. It is night, yet the sky is bright. 100 blue stars blaze overhead. The air is warm and fragrant. In the distance, a stream of people moves slowly toward a large spaceship. The ship is violet. Bright rays of light stab into the sky from it. I know that I am supposed to be on this ship. Yet before I go to it, I have something to discuss with Lord Krishna. He stands beside me on the plain, his gold flute in his right hand, a red lotus flower in his left. His dress, like mine, is simple, long blue gown that reaches to the ground, but he wears a jewel around his neck, the brilliant Kaustubha gem, in which destiny of our every soul can be seen. He does not look at me, but at the vast ship and the stars beyond. He waits for me to speak to answer him, but for some reason I can't remember what he last said. I only know that I am a special case because I do not know how to respond. I say what is most on my mind. When will I see you again, my lord? He gestures to the wide plain, the stars overhead. All his creation is an ocean, turbulent on surface, silent in the depths. But like the ocean, the creatures in it are always searching for meaning in the creation, the ultimate element. He smiles to himself at the irony. The fish searches for water in the ocean. He has heard so much about it, but he never finds it, and that is because he searches too hard. He pauses. I am everywhere in the creation. There is nowhere that I am not. Why do you speak to me of separation? Because, my lord, I fear I will forget you when I enter into the creation. He shrugs. He has no worries. That is to be expected. You learn by forgetting what you once knew. Then, when you remember, it is that much sweeter. When will you come to earth? When I'm least expected. Will I see you, my lord? Yes, twice, at the beginning of Kali Yuga and then at the end of the age. Will I recognize you? Not at first, not with the mind, but inside you will know me. How will I know you? He looks at me, and then his eyes are wonder, windows into the cosmos. The time loses all meaning. It is as if the whole universe turns while I stare at him. I see thousands of people, millions of stars, so much life striving for small joy, so many illusions ending in shattering bitterness. Yet in the end, all turns to red, then to black, as the blood of the people runs cold, and the fires of Kali burn the galaxies to ash. Still, none of this disturbs the eternal Lord, for he never blinks, even though the sheer magnitude of the vision forces me to turn away trembling. He has stolen my very breath. Sri Krishna, I pray, is overwhelmed. Take my soul now. Don't send me out. I surrender everything to you. I can't bear to forget you, even for a moment. He smiles. I will tell you a story. This same story will be told by a simple man named Jesus in the middle of Kali Yuga. Few people will recognize this Jesus with their minds, but some will know him inside. Krishna pauses before he begins. There is a man named Homa, who is a good person but not a perfect soul. He is a friend of Jesus, and one day Jesus asks him to go to the village to buy some food for a large meal. Jesus wants to give for some elders of the nearby village. Jesus says to the man, take these 10 coins and buy 12 loaves of bread, 5 jugs of wine, 4 fish, and 1 bag of a grain. Load it all on my donkey, and when you are done, bring it here. I will be waiting for you. At this, Homa is confused, as well as excited with greed. He can see Jesus does not understand the value of the coins because he knows he can get all the things Jesus has requested for only 5 coins. Yet Homa also knows Jesus will need twice as much as he has asked for in order to feed all the people who are expected. Still, Homa does not plan on spending all 10 coins. He says to himself, I will buy what I have been told to buy, and I will pocket the rest of the coins. So Homa takes the donkey to town and sets about purchasing the food. At the bakery, he buys 12 loaves of bread, but as he places them on the donkey, when he is not looking, they change into 24 loaves. Next, Homa gets 5 jugs of wine and 4 fish. But like before, when he is not looking. The 5 jugs turn to 10, and the 4 fish turn to 8. Finally, Homa obtains the bag of grain, but then, on the way back, he sees that he actually has 2 bags, and that everything else has doubled as well. He is astounded and feels to see if the 5 coins are still in his pocket. Jesus is waiting for him when he arrives and greets him with a kind smile. The smile of Jesus is a wonderful thing. Mankind's history will portray Jesus as filled with sorrow, but the love and joy that flow toward Homa when Jesus looks at him is all-consuming. Still, Homa is worried about seeing Jesus, even though Jesus has only kind words for him. Jesus says, "Welcome back, Homa." Oh my gosh. You have brought everything we need for a great feast. Thank you. But in shame, Homa lowers his head and takes the 5 coins and places them at Jesus' feet. "Don't thank me, Master, for I thought to cheat you. I knew you need more than you asked for. But I was going to keep these extra coins for myself. It is only by some strange magic that all the food is here. I bought only half this." And at that he kisses Jesus' feet. "I am unworthy to be called your friend or even your servant." But Jesus lifts him up and says, "No, Homa. You have done well because you have done my bidding. That is all you have to do. I ask nothing more of anyone." Krishna pauses and stares up at the sky. "Did you enjoy this story?" "Yes, my lord. But I do not know if I understand it, or how it relates to me. This man, Homa, he is like every man. He is good-hearted, but he has his flaws. Yet he is perfect in the eyes of Jesus because he has done what Jesus asks. You see, Sita, God does not expect you to give him all that you have. He understands the ways of the world, that it requires effort to deal with him. God only asks that you grant him half of what you possess, and then God will make up the other half. That is why the food multiplied. That is the miracle of this tale." Krishna pauses. "This story will be part of the Gospel of Jesus, but too soon it will be removed from the holy book by those who want the peasant class to give everything to the church. Oh my God, who do not understand the compassion of Jesus for those who struggle in the world." Krishna pauses again and smiles at me, that bewitching smile that steals even the hearts of the gods. "You do not need to surrender everything to me. Keep your head, and I will take your heart. You will need your head to deal with Kali Yuga, particularly the end of the age." "What will happen at the end, my lord?" Krishna laughs and raises his flute to his lips. "You will enjoy this tale if you know the end of the tale. Enough questions, Sita. Now listen to my song. It dispels all illusions, all suffering. When you feel lost, remember it. Remember me. And you see the things you desire most are the very things that bring you the greatest sorrow. My song is eternal. It can be heard at all times in all places. But listen, Sita. Listen in silence." Krishna starts to play, but as he does, a sudden wind comes up on the plain, and the notes of his melody are drowned out. The dust rises, and I am blinded. I can't see Krishna anymore. The light of the stars fades, and everything turns black. Yet in this blackness, even darker shadow fills the sky. I know I see Kali, who is without color, who destroys all at the end of time. Sinners as well as saints, devils as well as angels, humans as well as vampires, and I know it is Kali who will eventually destroy me. And that is where we will stop for today. And tomorrow we will start with chapter 12 and see what happens with Callie. Okay, self-promotion time. I am the YA horror author of Vampire Juice. It is a YA horror mystery adventure that is fast-paced and character-driven. If you like vampires and teen romance, you may like Vampire Juice. It is reminiscent of Fear Street, Are You Afraid of the Dark, and Lost Boys. And here is my book synopsis. Amanda and Sean stumble upon a mysterious can of juice while searching for Halloween costumes at a local store. Despite being kicked out by the sales clerk, they become obsessed with uncovering the truth behind the strange drink. With the help from some local bullies, they sneak back into the store through a crypt in the graveyard, only to find themselves in the midst of a spine-chilling adventure. Okay? Well, thanks for watching, and we will continue Phantom tomorrow.